All right. Now it's time for the French. This one, people are gaga over. He has been, I think, the most popular choice.
Who's gaga over him?
The fans, the Twitter folk. And then the Golasso guys had talked about it this morning. People are just bringing him. He's one of those guys where you hear Hugo Perez a lot, you hear Tab Ramos a lot. As of late, Hervé Renard has just been pitched left and right. He is like, if you didn't know any better, he's by far the most popular candidate. And I don't get it.
But isn't there yeah, I don't know. I mean, my reference point for hierarchy between the women's game and the men's game is Nick Cushing. Nick Cushing won Champions League with Man City women repeatedly. Won a lot of titles. And then he became Ronnie Dyle's assistant on NYCFC. That was like his next job. I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's weird. And then he became a head coach. So I don't know. Is that like...
Are you bringing that up because he's the head coach of the French women's team right now?
Yeah, like, isn't there a...
So Hervé Renard,
I thought there was
I'll give you a rundown.
I thought there was still... I mean, obviously I don't want to... I'm not looking to denigrate the women's game or anything like that, but it's. I was surprised when this happened. So I was like, I guess there is a big
explain why.
Status. Well, that was my evidence. I was like, if you are the head coach of Man City Women and you win a bunch of titles, you're very successful, and then you want to.
Bernard was never the head coach of the Man City Women.
I'm saying, this is what I'm saying about my experience with the hierarchy between the two. He wanted to then become... Nick Cushing's dream is he wants to become Everton.
Are we talking about Nick Cushing? Sorry.
Because this is my reference point.
Okay. All right, fine.
If you just listen, I will explain it to you.
I will. I'm listening.
This when he made that move, he wanted to get into the men's game, and then he works for City Football Group. They have a lot of options, but then what they thought was the appropriate move for him after coaching the Man City Women to very many titles was being an assistant to Ronnie Dyla on the MLS team NYCFC. So if that's like the equivalent. The equivalent on the career kind of status ladder of coaches, then why would Hervé Renard take over the men's national team?
Okay, Hervé Renard won 2 AFCON titles with 2 different men's national teams.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
that's
that.
why I'm trying to get in here.
Oh, so you should
completely unrelated.
Oh, you should have stopped me then.
Hervé Renard has been a head men's coach for 20 years. He coached in the French top flight. That's why I was That's why I was a little confused as to what you were talking about.
Oh, all right.
This French women's gig is the first. It's a gig. It's the first time he's been coaching women, I think. He was the head coach of Saudi Arabia when they beat Argentina at the World Cup in 2022. That's why he's the popular candidate.
So this is an embarrassing moment for me. We have to.
Yeah, you interrupted me. You told me to stop talking.
We have to edit this. We have to edit this out.
I was like, why are we talking about Nick Cushing? Okay.
So why did he take the women's job?
Because it was a job. He's a career coach. He takes jobs. He's very gettable. If U.S. Soccer calls him tomorrow and be like, hey, will you quit your French women's job for the U.S. job? He'd say yes, because he's a career coach.
Okay.
He has a long history
very good
of...
looking. Really handsome.
He's very, very handsome. People have taught that there have been serious posts by nuttos on the U.S. soccer sphere about this would draw more women.
I have to know more about Hervé Renard.
Put Hervé Renard in the Wikipedia and look at the honors section. You'll see he's led 2 different teams to 2 major titles, unrelated to his nationality, which is the plus category.
So he was... Oh, right, he was the Saudi Arabia... I knew this. Okay.
And then the reason he's popular is because he was a big hit at the 2022 World Cup because of the Saudi Arabia gig. Right. And Saudi Arabia beat Argentina. However...
Oh, yeah.
However... So are we up to speed now? So, there's nothing to do with his experience of the women's game and stuff.
I should just not be a pundit. That's just really that's what this comes down to.
That's why I wanted to send you the list ahead of time so you can Google some of these guys. However, what people seem to forget is that Saudi Arabia were last place in their group, and they lost to Poland and Mexico right after they beat Argentina.
Well, but it's Saudi Arabia.
But it's Mexico.
Expectations were low.
But it's Mexico.
Well, but Mexico 2022 was... Well,
they were third place in that group.
They were not good. Okay.
So I don't understand when people are gaga. It's like, yeah, they had a good game against Saudi Arabia. They bunkered, but Argentina, against Argentina, but Argentina won the whole tournament. Big teams can lose their opening game. They're in it for the long haul, So I don't.
Yeah, I mean, you don't hire somebody because of one
off a game. However, and also like Charlie Davies talked about this morning, he was the head coach of Sochaux when they were relegated in France. So it's like, to me, he's got huge Bora vibes. The kind of guy who's a specialist at like Jamaica. Or Jamaica should hire this guy.
Winfried Schäfer.
He's exactly who I brought up when I talked about this on my TikTok this morning. I said he's the Winfried Schäfer of France.
Yeah.
And like he would be big for us in '94. Now I do respect the fact that he won the AFCON with Ivory Coast, then he won the AFCON with I think Morocco or Zambia, I think, one of the smaller countries. So that's real. That's legit. Like that does show that he can take a mid-level team and go win a title.
And most of his experiences in national teams. And
right.
All right.
Right.
Changing my mind about Hervé Renard. Learning so much.
I was trying to stop you, and you wouldn't let me. You said I'm supposed to listen.
I was gonna dig my own grave.
It's okay. We're all learning here. It's fine. But like, yeah. So people are really gaga about him, and I think he is good. But is he like our first choice to fix our men's team? You know what I mean? I'm like, I think we can shoot higher than Hervé Renard. I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair.
Well, I mean, if like Poch and Rangnick are long shots, right? We think
probably, yeah.
So
this is gettable. He's gettable. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, among the the sea of mediocre dudes, I think he fits a profile at least. Like he has taken middling. Well, I guess he's taken teams that are below. The expectations were definitely lower for both Morocco than they would be for the U.S. But he definitely has a track record in that regard. So I think he might be good.
Yeah, he definitely fits the profile. But I think my thing for him is I want him kind of low on the list because, like I said, he's more the Winfried Schäfer. And I don't think we need a Winfried Schäfer right now. We need like more proven, more established coach, I guess. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Well, he's plenty established, I guess. That's not it. But
not established enough for you to know who he was. I mean, that's a natural filter right there, right?
Yeah, fair enough, I guess.
And none of us knew who he was until the 2022 World Cup, until his coming out party. But anyway, so that's Hervé Renard. I'm lukewarm to cold on him, but he seems to be a very popular candidate amongst the Twitter sphere and amongst the guys.
He should tuck in his shirt.
I don't know. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's doing like this is the guy who's on the cover of your mom's romance books.
All right,
100%. Anyway, that is. Oh, and then we got Thierry Henry. People have been bringing him up as a very serious candidate. I, for one, don't see it. I don't really get it. But what are your thoughts on Thierry Henry?
No, he doesn't want to do it. I mean,
I think he'd do it. But how would he do? Would we do really well under him?
As a coach, he's not a serial winner. He's not even any kind of winner.
He had two very short stints as a club coach.
Yeah, he was
in
Montreal, and then he was like, "Oh, this COVID thing sucks. I'm out of here."
And then he flamed out at Nice, I believe, for like 2 months or whatever.
And then he was the assistant. Yeah, he has no credentials.
I'm thumbs down on this as well. He gets brought up too much, in my opinion. Patrick Vieira. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he has not had a great club career as a coach. He's definitely also not a serial winner. I mean, I loved him when he was at NYCFC. I mean, he's just an outstanding human and was a great guy. And I mean, but obviously a totally different situation. We were terrible when he took over, and then he left in the middle of the night because he had some offer in France and lied about it, and so it was a sort of a sad ending. I mean, I have a soft spot for him in my heart, but I think, but again, really, just based on his record, if you bring him up, there's like 100 other people, and like Ronnie Dyla, I think would be better than him potentially.
Well, Patrick, I definitely pick him over Thierry Henry in a heartbeat. But Patrick Vieira, he went to Nice, right? I think he went to Nice, maybe.
He went to Nice and Crystal Palace and the Prem.
For 2 seasons, right? Was he there for 2 seasons?
Yeah, and that was okay, but they did a lot better after he left, too.
Right. Oliver Glasner's doing a better job.
Doing much better than he is. So, yeah, definitely not a sure thing, but I think he's a great. I think he's a great guy. I don't see him also necessarily standing out over. I mean, he has the MLS experience,
right?
And he has. I mean, I guess he is in that sense one of that select few of people who have MLS credentials plus very solid Euro credentials.
Yeah, I mean, he's like we were talking earlier about MLS guys who went to Europe. This would be an example of that.
I mean, he's like he's like soccer royalty, but based on his playing career,
right,
more so than his coaching career. But he certainly has everybody. I mean, it
could be another Klinsmann situation.
When he was at NYCFC, everybody obviously stood up a little straighter when he walked into the room, and
that might be what the U.S. That might be what the U.S. program needs, because another thing about this new coach, I think it was Paul Tenorio or someone, one of the guys, only like 10 of them, is like what he wants most from this new coach is to start the player pool from scratch. He wants them to like assemble the player council, and he wants everyone to earn their spot again. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. Someone who's more dictatorial. Like you said, everyone would stand up straight under Patrick Vieira, and I would love for him to, like, he would be a good dude to come in and be like, all right, let's start from scratch, earn your spots again. And I think our national team would have a new look. It would look a little different, I think, if that were the case. And he's the kind of guy I think who could do that.
He would bring Tommy McNamara back.
He'd bring Mix Diskerud back in the film.
No, he was not. He was not a fan of Mix at all, actually.
Well, then that's a good thing.
But he loved Tommy Mac.
He would never have cut Landon Donovan to call him Mix Diskerud for the world. Let's put it that way. All right, but for me, it's a very obscure. I would prefer him over Thierry Henry, but I'd be like, all right, Zinedine Zidane. Everyone wants Zidane. Bayern München wants Zidane. Every vacant head coach job, it's like, can we get Zidane, do you think? I don't know. What do you think about Zidane being the head coach of the U.S. Pistachio team?
That'd be a terrible choice.
Terrible? Why? Because he just be terrible?
He has no patience.
He doesn't speak English either. I know that.
Doesn't speak English. He doesn't have any patience for the mediocre players that make up a large part of the U.S. player pool. Like, he's not. He's got no time for this.
Right. Yeah, he's a specialist at managing Cristiano Ronaldo and Real Madrid. That's really all he's proven, which he did very well, by the way. But the U.S. men's national team, totally apples and oranges job. All right, so the Brits.
Oh, my God.
Sammy Allardyce.
Yeah, he comes up a lot.
Yeah, he's a specialist. He's what's it called, a Feuerwehr coach. He comes into suffering clubs, rips up the game plan, brings them back to basics, and salvages them.
He feels that's undeserved. He feels like he is just as top a coach as anybody else.
I think he'd be fine. I think he's a veteran coach who's smart. I think he's just a man-manager type dude. He's not a huge X's and O's guy. I don't know. Like, the English wanted Sam Allardyce. He would be the English coach maybe today if that scandal of him cheating agents or whatever never came out. He'd probably, I don't know. What do you think about Sam Allardyce being the U.S. coach?
Yeah, I guess. I can't say that I really know him well enough to have a real opinion. I think he, I think he's in the category of why would he want it? Why would he want this job? But if he did, maybe.
Well, he wants this job. I think he tried to get the job before Greg was hired. He lobbied for it.
Did? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I think that's why he's on the list, because he's very gettable. And he would be an example of a European manager that we can get our hands on after Poch and
he's pretty old. He's pretty old at this point, right?
Yeah.
What exactly? How old is he exactly?
Yeah, you look him up, or I'm looking him up too. Sam Allardyce, 69, the perfect age in many regards. Sam Allardyce, okay. I'm going to try to cut through a little bit.
He's about ready to run for president. Okay, so
Brendan Rodgers.
Brendan Rodgers.
Celtic coach. Before Klopp, he was a pretty dang decent Liverpool coach. Just a veteran, good top flight British coach.
Yeah, but this is another random. Like it's a very random choice.
I got his name from somewhere. There must be some sort of contact here. I think he was maybe on the ESPN list or something. Even if it isn't random, let's say we offered him, he said yes, he took the job. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'd be fine.
Yeah, I think he'd be good. Like, we can do worse than Brendan Rodgers. I would be in, if Brendan Rodgers was hired, I'd be like, okay, good job. The one thing for me is something we've never ever had is just a solid, experienced European top flight coach. We've just never had that as
but
in
in the same way. I mean, I guess he has better, although not really. Doesn't have a whole lot. I mean, he hasn't won a whole lot. I mean, he won, obviously Celtic, but yeah, I mean, what does he have that Pellegrino Matarazzo doesn't? I think he falls into that like category of big question marks. Like, who knows? I don't know how Brendan Rodgers would be with the U.S. men's national team. I have no data. I have no point of comparison.
Brendan Rodgers has more years of experience at higher level clubs than Pellegrino Matarazzo does. He's been in it longer. He was the head coach of Liverpool during the Luis Suarez years. Remember, he was top of the news for a long time. Pellegrino Matarazzo hasn't climbed to that level.
But you didn't win anything with them.
They did well. I mean, I don't know. Did anyone not win an FA Cup? Or let's put it in. Let's look at the numbers here. Brendan Rodgers. I would be fine with him as coach because we've had everything. We've had the MLS club guy. The only thing we haven't had is a European top flight coach. And I'm not saying that would be a super success, but I want to see what it looks like. So we have the precedence for our next hire. You know what I mean? A lot of individual titles. As a manager, but he won with Leicester City. He won the FA Cup with Leicester City in 2021. That's no short feat.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. Yeah.
Plenty of Scottish stuff, but like you, I don't put a lot of faith. If you're Celtic, you should be winning all the Scottish stuff.
The Greek league, it's not the Greek league. Apparently, is a big benchmark for you.
Well, more than the Scottish league, definitely. The Scottish league only has 2 clubs, and the Greek league has 4. That already makes it twice as competitive.
So you're saying the Greek league is better than the Scottish league?
It's more competitive. Panathinaikos, AEK, and Olympiacos are 3 big clubs. And Scotland only has Rangers and Celtic.
Celtic would crush any of them.
Crush them? You sure?
I'm not sure. I don't know, but like...
I think you'd find... Anyway, I don't... Like, Olympiacos or AEK, they're the kind of clubs that also end up in the Champions League group stage and don't get through, just like Celtic does. I think they're in the
Champions League group stage? When was the last time...
Look it up. I'm going to do the next coach here. All right. Brendan Rodgers. If you had to pick between Sam Allardyce and Brendan Rodgers, who would you pick?
I don't care. Either of them.
All right. David Moyes. My boy Moyes. We talked about this many times.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
you like him.
Available, high-level dude. Loves the American player. Landon Donovan and Brian McBride and Tim Howard all say they die for that man. He's just... He's my number one when it comes to the Brits, and I wouldn't consider him any less talented than a Sam Allardyce or a Brendan Rodgers. You know what I mean? As far as coaching goes, he just won the Conference League with West Ham United. And he was great with Everton for many years. He's a specialist at getting more with less. We can do much worse than David Moyes, I think.
Okay.
Do you have any other thoughts on him?
Nope.
Gareth Southgate. Let's pretend he wants to leave the press. He steps down from his job, becomes the U.S. head coach. What do you think?
Yeah, he's the same as the other guys, the other 3. I mean, yeah, same category for me. I don't know. No idea.
Well, the other 3 guys are club coaches. Gareth Southgate's only a national team.
He's got a national team. Yeah, but he has no U.S. connection that I'm aware of whatsoever.
Well, him and Greg were very close, and they trained together and stuff. So he was close with the U.S. program.
Well, then let's go.
So if you had to pick of the 4 Brits, who would you hire?
It's Moyes, Brendan Rodgers, and I mean, I guess I would hire Southgate over the other 3 just because of his national... Daniel Young is not a fan.
Yeah, what do we got on the chat?
No, Southgate, says Daniel Young.
Tell us why, Danny Young. Why no Southgate? Why no Southgate? Tell us why.
I mean, he would teach him to defend at least. That'd be good.
Well, we need to teach the team to attack. I think we had a little too much to defend.
All right.
So Gareth Southgate, I would not be crazy, but I think it'd be very random. And Gareth Southgate falls in the Joachim Löw category. Managing world-class players is a different skill set. Just because national team experience doesn't mean he's proven anything that he can do well at a lower-level player pool. You know what I mean? You have to be a little more creative with player pools.
I got some updates on the Greek league if you want to hear it.
All right, what do you got for me?
So, you are right that the Greek league and the Scottish league are pretty comparable according to the UEFA coefficient, which measures their recent performance in European competitions. I am correct in saying that the Belgian league is significantly better than both of those.
Well, how significant? What are we talking about?
Had twice the coefficient points over the last 5 years.
Yeah, but like the Greek league to me is like the Swiss league or the Scottish league, right? It's like in that level.
No, but there's a big. That's what I'm saying. There's a big gap. The Greek league and the Swiss league and the Scottish league and Denmark, Danish league, the Polish. Those are all, or the Austrian league. They're all very much comparable. But Belgium is significantly better.
Yeah, and Belgium has been better
up there.
over the years.
Belgium is better than the Turkish league. Belgium is
That's surprising to hear.
Is just behind Portugal.
Yeah, good for the Belgian league. They've really gone from strength to strength the last few years. How do they compare to the Dutch league then?
Dutch league is better. The Dutch league is the next league, obviously after the
Portuguese league?
After the top four. No, the top five rather. Sorry,
I was gonna say higher than
big
the French.
Five.
Yeah.
But the Dutch league, based on UEFA coefficients, very close. Is not much behind. The French league, league is a ways behind to the top four, and
right.
the Dutch league is much closer to the French league than the French league is to the Bundesliga.
But Matthias Almeida went to Greece, didn't know the language, I don't think he had any connection to it, and he won Coach of the Year and he won a domestic double with his club. You know, props to that. That'd be like, I don't know, Bob Bradley going to Scotland, taking over Rangers. I'm trying to think. It's hard to compare. Or he went to Switzerland. Let's say that. I think Switzerland's the better. And he took over Grasshopper Zurich and won the league double that year with them. You know, I give props to that.
All right.
If you're an outsider. But anywho, so Southgate over the other three because of training experience. For me, I'm a David Moyes boy. All right, now we have a few. We're coming to the end here. The other elite, the others, and the rest. Thomas Frank has been thrown around quite aggressively. What do you think about him?
I mean, yeah. Again, he's in the like. Why not say 100 other people? Like, what does he have over? He's in the Almeida, Ronnie Deila, Patrick Vieira, the morass of.
He's a level above. He's a level
above because he's got Brentford.
Because he's doing really well in the Prem. He's doing well with a small club, and he's getting props. I think he's in a little bit of a higher category of those other three. I think he's just a random dude who's done well. You know, he is random, but I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'd put him if I had a top 10 list. He'd be 5 and below.
He's a good coach, but it's like if you're, and then you can just name every coach in the top 5 league. And
he's linked for a reason. He must have a connection, or there must be something about his numbers or something. But anyway, so Thomas Funk, Rando, Carlo Ancelotti, only because he's vacationing in Montana. What do you think?
He's got the Canadian connection, right?
I'm telling you,
he loves America.
It could be his last job before he retires.
Yeah, he'd be great. No, he'd be awesome.
You'd be big thumbs up on him. Totally. Yeah, he'd be a big kid. Yeah. You think he would do better with the national team than the former coaches, do you think?
No. I mean,
you think he'd do as well?
You know what I think? I don't think that's a thing. I don't think there's a coach that exists that would come in and transform this player pool into world beaters overnight. I don't think that's a thing. I think he'd be fine, but
how high is he on your list, Carlo Ancelotti?
If he wants to do it, he would be right up there. Like, yeah.
All right. Carlo Ancelotti. Yeah, for me, it's two things. Either he's great and we do well, or B, we finally solve the experiment of a rich, high-level coach doesn't make your team better. It's win-win kind of. It's one or the other.
Well, I think he'd be great, but I don't think anybody would transform this team anyway. Which is
I
probably
mean, they
another
would
good
be
reason.
they would be better.
It's another reason to not spend $200 million on something.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to spend that, but we definitely will agree to disagree that he would make the team better than being grouped at the Copa America. I think
Yeah, he
could
would
do
get
better.
them out of the. No, I agree. I mean,
You know,
this was bad.
The goal, I think, with 2026 is to.
But
make a
like
run to
Ronnie
the semis.
Dyla could do that too.
He's unfortunately not on my list. All right, Stefano Pioli, Italian veteran of many years, let go by AC Milan at the end of the year, but he played Puli. He played the American player, and he's an Italian veteran and serial winner, just like Carlo Ancelotti is, maybe a younger Ancelotti.
Okay,
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
sure. If you want, does he want to do it?
You ask me that every time, and I'm
Yeah,
not their
that's-
agents. I don't
But
know.
that's the
They'll
that's
get a
the
call.
question.
No, they'll get a call from the thing. They'll get offered ridiculous amounts of money, way more than any Serie A club could play, and then they have to say no to it. That's all. That's the only answer I can offer. I can't tell you whether they really want to do it in their soul.
I don't
or
think
not.
it's not a good fit.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Luis de la Fuente, who has announced his interest in the job.
Yeah, and he's a youth. You know, he's that profile, the youth coach. But I mean, in the Spanish system, obviously, not the American system.
However, I truly believe it was just his agent angling for a new contract.
Yeah,
I think it was
I
just
think-
a low blow.
I think that's true.
I don't think he has any real interest in coming and coach the team. And let's say he does. Luis de la Fuente knows Spain, knows Spanish players. The U.S. player pool are like the anti-Spanish players. Like they're not Spanish players, right? They don't hold the ball well. So like, what would he do with our crop of boys? Would it work? Do you think? Would he be any better than?
Well, I mean, to his credit, he has not just kind of picked up where his predecessor left off. This Spanish team is very different from Spanish teams in the past. He's been more direct, more pragmatic. So I think he's proven himself to be someone who adapts to the people that he's got, and I think that's right. That's what the doctor is ordering currently, right, for the U.S. men's national team after this.
Any sort of shake-up and refresh. Yeah, shake-up and a refresh. Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, if you know, like I keep saying this, but like when you have these kinds of people who have like no connection to America, no connection to the program, then it's sort of like, why? How would we know if this would work or not? It could be a what's the Galaxy guy? Scaletta?
Guillermo Barros Escaloto. Yeah.
Scalotto. Could be a Scalotto situation. Could be a.
Well, he had a connection to the league. It was a good hire at the time. It just didn't
What
go
is
so well.
what's the best case scenario for the Euro coach coming to MLS successfly? Where has that worked? When has that worked well? Ronnie Dyla? Is my Homer example? But
Barros Escaloto came from South America. Yeah, you mean someone foreign coming and doing well?
someone with European only credentials coming to the US and doing well.
Well, Bora Milutinovic and then Jorgen Klinsmann, I guess, would
guess.
be the two
Well,
examples.
yeah, I mean Klinsmann.
Bora definitely, because he took a backwater team of nobodies. And
Yeah,
turned
he
them
did
into
well. Right.
But we're past
But that was also those were
Yeah.
different times. That was like
Yeah, we're
basically
past
like that was like Hervé Renard going to Saudi Arabia.
Right, exactly. We're past.
That was the Vinny Schaefer scenario.
On July 4th, I watched the USA-Brazil round of 16 game from 1994 in its entirety. Someone posted the broadcast online.
Wow.
And it was such a fun little time capsule. The ABC broadcasters were trying to sell a sport that the audience didn't know, and it was just so fun. And during the game, they would cut to interviews of Marcelo Balboa and Alexi Lalas and things like that. You know? It's different times. But what I saw a U.S. team live in their box for 90 minutes and just kick the ball out.
Yeah.
I mean, Brazil, it was apples and oranges. It was a World Cup winning team versus a team that was lucky to be there. So people who say we haven't gotten any better since 94 are lying. They don't know what the heck they're talking about. Those, like Alexi Lalas, should never have been a professional soccer player. He was not that talented. So Hervé Renard to me feels like that. Like, we don't need Hervé Renard. Jamaica needs Hervé Renard. We don't need Hervé Renard. No disrespect to Jamaica, but Let's think. Okay, 2 quick bonuses I heard this morning because I can't think. Rafa Benitez has announced his interest. He talks about how much he loves Luca de la Torre and the American player, and Rafa Benitez has announced his interest. How do you feel about that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be decent. He speaks English, speaks Spanish, high-level coach. He's got some titles under his belt, been around. We can do worse than Rafa Benitez.
Definitely.
And then Xavi. How about that?
Xavi Barcelona? Xavi Hernandez?
Former Xavi, the one that Barcelona got rid of, yeah. Replaced by Hansi Flick.
He'll always be Barcelona Xavi, even when he's not there.
Yeah, how do you think about Barcelona Xavi?
Yeah, I don't see that either.
It's kind of like with this, you gave Luis de la Fuente more props. It's like Xavi is good with the Spanish player, like with the Spanish system. So if you take something like that and throw them in the U.S., it's like these aren't Spanish players.
But he's also almost. I mean, first of all, he did not do all that well in Barcelona. I mean, at the end, I guess he did. But he's sort of almost in the Zidane category of like, or the Thierry Henry, Zidane, the like.
He's like in the middle. I think he lives in the middle.
But the former great player who is like, why would they? Have they shown to have any patience with the lesser? With the lesser players, not really.
Thierry Henry definitely hasn't. No.
And I think Luis de la Fuente has that going for. I mean, not like, he's a youth coach. Like that's not going to be the issue. He's not going to be like, oh, you guys are not good enough.
No, 100%.
Well,
all right.
A lot of romance.
Our last broadcast, I said I'd be fine with Steve Trundlow. I'm amending my statement. If that happens, that's such a boring hire.
Now that you've got this, now that we just saw the smorgasbord of interesting and intriguing candidates, Steve Trundlow is not gonna quicken our heart rate.
No, I want Puch. I want Ralph Rangnick. I want David Moyes. I want Rafa Benitez before Steve Trundlow. Hopefully we get our hands on that.
But I think the appetite, right? If we're talking about the fan base, the appetite is for the international, a little bit of romance, a little bit of glamour, of European flair is what the people want.
Another name that was thrown this morning by Tony Meola is Massimo Allegri. Again, it's just any sort of veteran dude who's out of contract who's available. Tony Meola was cold on Massimo Allegri, by the way. But I believe that is what we should expect. And for me, I'm very curious how that'll go. I think that'll be a fun watch. Jose Mourinho, right? He's unavailable because of Fenerbahce. But he's a kind of dude that probably would have been interesting maybe if he was in the mix. I don't know. I do confidently feel that the next coach will be one of the people we talked about tonight, I think.
It's the Schnitzel Boys, it's the Schnitzel Boys, it's the Schnitzel Boys.